Hello and greetings to my friends in Austin, the brilliant, brilliant folks in Austin, Texas. Coach Hudson here, and I had some thoughts for you, and I'm going to make it quick, I promise. I want to talk real briefly about assumptions and uneducated decisions, and I think they kind of go hand in hand. So it's kind of the same topic, right? And I'm just wondering because I know that I have missed out on really a lot of opportunities in my life over the years because I made decisions based off an assumption that was made or an uneducated decision on my part. Even if I got information from somebody else, if they weren't the direct source, then it still feels a little uneducated, right? So, and I'll share with you because my feeling is that some of you are probably just like me. Some of you probably, just because we're human, are making a lot of decisions based on assumptions or based on uneducated choices and decisions. And so hear me out for a second. You're in the real estate field, and I would imagine that most of you probably realize, because we've heard this from many sources, that 75% of the wealth in the world and in our country, the source of it is real estate ownership. So we're in the industry that produces a lot of wealth, right? And so it would make sense that as real estate agents that we would be real estate investors. And yet I know that most of us aren't. I'm sure we've got reasons, and I have no judgment on that. I share it because I'm going to share something that I've had happen in my life. I put off real estate investing for a really, really long time. Like, boy, did I put it off. And then I made a really conscious decision one year that this was the year it was going to happen. And I meant it, and I had set money aside, and it was going to happen. And that same year, I had an opportunity come up to be a team leader with Keller Williams. And it was with an amazing OP, and I went for it. And when I did that, the team leader role was about an hour away from my house, which isn't that bad. And yet I have 6 children, and yet I had 5 of them at the time. And I was like, that's too much of a commute. That's 2 hours of my day lost that I could be with my kids. I'm not going to do that. And so we moved. And at the time it was an expensive move. And so I was like, all right, well, we can't buy now. We can't buy an investment. We'll put it off another year. And I still had some money left over. We didn't spend every dollar. And so I took that amount of money. And I rather than ask questions or inquire, like, how could I make this into a property? I put it into the stock market, which wasn't like the worst thing ever. And yet basically what I put in is what I have now many years later. Like, it hasn't really grown very much, and I haven't taken money out of it. All right. So the next year, I almost went a whole year and didn't do it still. And then I had that moment, it was around my birthday, and I was like, no. And so then finally I did. I reached out and I started asking people questions. I'm like, this is my budget. Don't laugh. Where can I buy? And so many people did laugh. And then so many people told me, hey, these are places you could buy in cash flow. So the amount of money that I put in the stock market the year before was more than I needed to buy my first investment property. And that first investment property cash flowed cash flows still $750 a month. Cash flow $750 a month. So why do I share this with you? Because if I would have made a different decision, and if I would have been like, all right, so plans changed and everything is not the same, and yet I still had a goal to buy my first investment property this year. And if I would have started talking to friends and family and coworkers and other real estate agents and other investors, I would have found out that I had the money still to do it. And if I would have talked to my lender, I would have found out that the fact that I just bought another house didn't really matter, because my debt to income was fine. And when you buy a good investment property, you won't have that payment count against you, things that some of you probably know. And yet that not asking questions, that choice of using an assumption, it cost me a year of cash flow, which at the end of my life is not going to kill me. Like, I'm okay with it. And yet it's just a timely example of something that I'm like, how many other things have I lost out on? Because I just assumed, or I just decided that's not for me, or I don't know how. And then I think back to my bold journey, because high diversion, went in at zero production 5 years later. I took it 15 times, and I went from zero production to 7 figures in production, GCI. All right, that's why I'm a coach, because I'm so grateful to this program, right? And yet I avoided bold for 5 years of my career, because I assumed it wasn't for me, because I had made an uneducated decision from other people who maybe weren't in the right headspace, or they were assuming too, like, oh, no, it's all rah-rah. No, it's all this. No, it's not this. It is this. And so I made my decisions based off that. And then when I finally stepped it up out of desperation at the time, if I would have gone earlier, it would have never been desperation. It changed my world, and it gave me an amazing life. And so I share all this to say, I have an invitation for you. We have step 2 of Bold this Thursday in the Austin Southwest Market Center on Mopac Parkway. And I would like to invite you to join us for free if you're not already signed up for Bold for the morning. All right, because unless you already joined us, if you joined us at step 1 and you were like, nope, not for me, and you made a good decision, great, it's okay. If you joined us and you just weren't sure, you had questions, or maybe it was a money issue, because we can work through that as well, then you should come. If you didn't join us, whether you were registered or not, doesn't matter to me. You should come and join us, because we have seats available. And this course has changed my life, and it's changed so many people's lives. And yet we had to put our foot in the room first. We had to go and see for ourselves and make an educated decision. So that's my invitation to you. Come join us this Thursday from 9 to lunchtime. And if at that point you're like, nope, I'm good, then you can leave. And here's my promise to you. You will have value. You will be glad you were there for the 3 hours. You will not feel that you wasted your time. You will take value out of there that will help you in your career. And you might make a different choice. You might think, hey, I think this is what I need in my life to take my life and my career to the next level. And then you have the opportunity to sign up and join us for the rest of the program running through early December. So that's my call to you. If anything I just said resonated with you, you're like, oh yeah, I've done that before. I've made maybe some uneducated decisions. I've kind of operated off assumptions. Good, you're human. Don't do it now. Come sit with us for 3 hours, experience what really happens in the room and not what you think happens, or what happened when you took it 5 years ago when you were in a different place and Bold was in a different place. So I look forward to seeing you. Here's what you do. Just reply yes to this email. Just tell us that you would like to come so that we have a seat for you and we have your name down on a list. That's all I need from you. Thank you for watching. And I trust that this week you'll make more decisions from an educated perspective than assumptions, so that you no longer do what I've done so many times in my former life and lost out because of it. Take care.